something was coming through a lot when I was working with clients today, and I wanted to share it here, and we'll see how this goes, because there's some sketch going around, you know what I'm saying? So here's what I wanted to talk about. Anytime we have a perceived notion that they, them, a group of people have a belief about us, or are judging us, or are having thoughts about us, like, you know, that whole saying, like, what people think about you is none of your business. Hi, if you're just joining me. Sorry, I'm getting kind of blown up from a group text. So anytime we have a belief about what people think about us, a group of people especially, the truth of that is we want to get to the core essence, the core nugget of that. And highly helpful is to look at where that core essence lives within us. Looking at what that core belief that we think other people are thinking about us, or if we speak our truth are going to think about us, or if we act in a certain way are going to think about us, or are going to, start feeling about us that maybe isn't positive. That core belief, if you can get to it, if you can get to that core belief and where that belief lives in your body, it's going to help you so much, because ultimately any perceived notion of judgment or fear about other people thinking things about us lives within us. It is our own resistance to our own truth, to our own success, to our own freedom. This weekend, believe it or not, even though this whole country wasn't actually founded on all people's freedoms, which, it's really depressing when we look at the history of our country, right? We need to know our history so that we can move forward. But the moving forward part requires us to look deep within ourselves, to look at our core beliefs and our inner child wounds, okay? And our inner child wounds are activated when we feel like we're not going to be accepted. A huge part of being human is that we are social beings. We are meant to live in tribes. We are meant to live in communities. And one way that we decide if we like someone is if we decide if they're like us or not, right? And so this leads us to huge problems in our societies when we can't come from that common place. And you know who profits off of us being separated and of us living in fear, right? Like, who profits from that? We need to, as a society, understand that our core wounds, hi, if you're just joining me, our core wounds live somewhere within us. And those core wounds, us going back and healing our inner child around those core wounds, are essential for us collectively moving forward as a whole. When we feel as if we're not going to belong if we speak our truth, that's hitting a core tribal essence of the human experience, a core fear. And what I want you to remember is that core fear is in here. When we want to judge or shame or make it so that someone doesn't belong within our communities, within our frame of reference, that comes from our fear, right? That whole idea, if you can sit down and break bread with someone, you can connect with them and you can create community. But ultimately, if we're so in our core wounds, if we're so in our core fears, we're not going to be able to take that opportunity to find our commonality, to find where actually we have much more in common than we do not. When there is a time period where we are literally under psychological warfare, as I truly believe that that's what we're under here, that's going to trigger all of our core wounds and our core fears. And that triggering, if it isn't healed, if it isn't looked at, if it isn't acknowledged, is going to have us all acting from our wounded child self. So when we want to act from our adult self, when we want to be in our adult brain, because we all deserve to live in a world where the adults are living in their adult brain, we have to go in and heal those inner child wounds. And this is what Cancer season, Mercury in Cancer, is all about. So this is the time to look at our fears around being accepted,